Hello there, Wolf from here, and I finally played the Nintendo Switch 2, in London to be precise, with help from my cameraman. So, is the Nintendo Switch 2 really the big upgrade that we have all wanted from the new system? And the short answer is yes, it definitely is. One thing is seeing it through a Nintendo Direct uploaded on YouTube, and yes, that one was uploaded in 4K. A completely different thing is to experiencing it firsthand, holding the system, and actually even being able to compare the size to the Lite, the regular Switch, and even the Nintendo Switch OLED, and seeing just how much bigger, but also not too much heavier that the system is. It is an upgrade through and through, most of all through its display, as the new 1080p 8-inch display with HDR is very comparable to the quality of the Nintendo Switch OLED model screen. Yes, it's not OLED, but the HDR and 1080p is what brings it to a whole other level. In fact, we did a proper comparison, side by side in the same location, in Breath the Wild. We'll talk more about that, but when it comes to the Pro Controller, my preferred way of playing The Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo Switch, I have to say that the new one is a slight, but a definitive upgrade. Most of all, design-wise, I really like that they went for a more grey approach instead of the all-black one that we've been used to on the Nintendo Switch, but it also feels just better to hold. You have the new mappable buttons at the bottom, which I would say are something that will definitely add a more elite or pro to the Pro Controller experience. Based on just holding it, it seems like the weight is more or less the same. It might be slightly more. Of course, there's more components in it. Now we have a headphone jack. We have the new C button for game chat, analog sticks, but the buttons, just as they have been responsive throughout the last 8 years, I would say they are equally so, if not even more so, while playing games like Kong Bananza, The Legend of Zelda, Breath the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. The Pro Controller had like a side position a little bit, because the big focus of Nintendo is obviously on the new Joy-Con, with the new magnetic design, with the new mouse feature, and of course when it comes to the whole bigger action buttons, bigger analog sticks, and just bigger Joy-Cons at all. But there's one thing I noticed that they have already carried over from the new Pro Controller to the new grip, and that being that the mappable buttons are actually found on them as well. We did some proper video and photography of it just to demonstrate how it looks, and it's actually very similar to the brand new Pro Controller. But of course, in the case of the Pro Controller, the one from Nintendo Switch is fully usable on the Nintendo Switch 2. We know that they are backwards compatible. It has slightly different feel. It is simply the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller better and improved, much like the case of the Nintendo Switch 2 itself, which I of course also got to hold, perfect for like size comparisons, which is exactly what we did with the representatives that were accompanying me from Bergsala or Nintendo Nordics. But it doesn't feel massive, it feels very natural in your hand. Yes, it's definitely heavier, as you can see on the screen. We're talking almost 100 grams heavier than the Nintendo Switch OLED model. But at the same time, you don't really feel that, because the weight distribution is a little bit better, and it's also just a matter of getting used to it in every regard when you think of it. And when it comes to playing the games, you don't really feel it. You're too immersed anyway when playing the Nintendo Switch 2. Besides, there are so many new features when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 that have been added thanks to this extra space, including bigger cooling. We also have cooling, of course, within the Nintendo Switch 2 dock itself, all to allow, DLSS, 4K upscaling from the native resolution that is found on the system. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is in upscaled 4K 60 frames per second. I was playing it in performance mode, that being 1080p 120 frames per second. We got to play the opening section, which play with the new mouse mode, and I'm gonna say it is very good in terms of precision, point and shoot. My only caveat when it comes to this is that sometimes I feel like the mouse mode can be a little bit clunky. I really hope we'll get accessories that will allow for a more, PC desktop mouse experience, as those are quite wide. The game, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, just runs beautifully. And the same can be said about Kong Bananza, a game that is literally the dream Incredible Hulk game where you literally smash and destroy the world while also collecting minerals, plenty of collectibles. And I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical going into this demo and experience. But oh my, was I convinced and changed man when it came to this game. It just runs so well. It feels so organic. It feels so unlimited in many ways, seeing Donkey Kong pouncing his chest and pulling off effing rocks and everything that we just love here at the Commonwealth realm. Got to experience much of the, well, first the introduction section, but also the opening level, meet up with Cranky Kong, run around, explore, because I feel like this is a game where you will really want to explore, find as many bananas as possible, fossils. This feels very much like a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey, but where instead of focusing on capturing, it's all about environmental destruction and collecting things. July 17th. But let's not hide ourselves, the big star of the show was of course Mario Kart World, a game that most likely become the bestseller of the Nintendo Switch 2, and it goes without saying, this thing is incredible. Such a massive selection of characters within the demo itself. Multiple different costumes for our beloved characters. You can even play as Princess Peach in her post-game yukata from Super Mario Odyssey. You can play Pauline in her getup. So there's like more of a combination between Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with Mario Kart Tour, but also at the same time having a good experience where it's not as stressful because you have the open world. You can drive around as much as you want, and even though as of the recording of this video before the Mario Kart World Direct, I see definitely potential of filling it out, this open world, especially if we get a single player campaign. But from my experience of races, unfortunately we were only bound to 100cc, which I'm personally not used to, meaning that I did make some tactical blunders in elimination mode, tournament mode, but I got to play that section as Mario. It is really tense, like you focus a lot to not be in the end of the pack, because the elimination is brutal while you drive around multiple different racetracks. Mario Kart World is simply amazing. I also got to play, as I mentioned already, as both Pauline but also Princess Peach in her yukata, and also of course I had to play as the cow, because the cow is the new star along with Dolphin from Dolphin Shores from Mario Kart 8. This game is just a trip and it will be a massive road trip. But I got to experience both karts and bikes in my experience, and I have to say that it's just as balanced as it was in Mario Kart 8. Apart from that, I got to experience also some Nintendo Switch 2 edition games, in the case of the already previously mentioned Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where of course the resolution, frame rate, 60 frames per second is very noticeable. The loading time. So I did several experiments, which we'll get back to into the Legend of Zelda specific video when it comes to my experience with Nintendo Switch 2. But I can say straight out, this is the way that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom needs to be played. Only bummer, the DLC will not be included. You need to pay that extra in the case of Breath of the Wild. But more on that in the Zelda video, as I already mentioned. So what other games with Switch 2 upgrades apart from Metroid and Zelda were there? Super Mario Party Jamboree with Jamboree TV mode. Actually, those minigames are awesome with mouse mode. I got to play them with this representative from Bergsala, and we had a lot of fun. Just using the mouse controls to cover it up. And yes, there's one thing I have to say about the mouse controls here as well, is that you have to really have a lot of space for the mouse, because it's not like a desktop mouse where you can cover the entire field. You need actually a proper mat and a rather spacious one as well to don't feel any limitations or boundaries when it comes to this type of controls. But overall, great experience. Like, it's coming out in July, the week after Donkey Kong Bananza, the new addition to Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which I also got to experience with the spring function of mouthful mode. Overall, just a great experience, and my time with the Nintendo Switch 2 was truly amazing, including when it comes comes to third-party games, where I got to try out Street Fighter 6, which we have already seen in several comparisons, looks better than the Xbox Series S version. Yeah, more on Zelda, more on Mario Kart, more on other things in upcoming videos, as this is just the introduction. But before I end, I want to mention that my previous impressions video that I did back in 2017 was partially filmed by my father after returning back from Bergsala's or Nintendo Nordic's main offices in Sweden. But at least I managed to get all of my impressions out to you, and I hope you enjoy it by leaving a like, sharing your thoughts in the comment section down below, and of course subscribing and press that notification bell to not miss any Nintendo Switch 2 videos, including the ones I have teased already, and far more beyond that. Massive shout out goes as always to you for watching until the end, and to all our patreon.com/CommonRealm patrons. Special shout outs go to Raw Producer, JC Funk, and heroes Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf, and Kintaro, or Rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.